Hello and welcome to Metro Palette. I'm Chris Knutson. Just as in the past, I strive to bring some of the top talent in the state and the country for art. And the guest with me today has been with us a couple times, and he's been busy painting all kinds of new pieces. I give you Mike Sieve. Mike.
Thank you, Chris.
Welcome to the show. Looks like you've been pretty busy here. We got all new pieces shown for the first time, at least on my show here. And we got a new bronze.
Brand new bronze.
Brand new bronze you're working on here. This is, I believe, your second bronze?
This would be my second one, yeah. The first one was done about 5 years ago. Did really well. This one I think is, personally I like it better, but I guess everyone has their own opinion. But yeah, I think I'm coming along with bronze. Yeah,
I put one of my deer sheds here in front of it. The last bronze you did actually had a deer shed.
The last bronze was a running whitetail deer. The base was an antler of a base, which held him up in the air.
Tell us a little briefly about the first bronze, and then kind of lead us into this piece.
Well, the first one was more or less inspired just to do a bronze that I thought would be sort of unique. I'd never seen a deer in action like that or anything else held up in the air by an antler, and that antler was meant to be the antler of the deer itself. It was designed that way.
Nice.
This one is just basically meant to be a standalone sculpture with no story or anything like that. It's a deer scraping a branch, making a scrape and licking a licking branch, which they do in the fall as part of their rituals, their fall rutting rituals. And it's just basically a scene that any bow hunter would probably relate to, licking a branch.
Nice. Yeah, with something like this, I mean, compared to the first bronze you did and this one, do they get easier, harder?
I think I'm getting better at the art end of it, and that's my part of it. This bronze I'm actually having cast with a friend of mine. The two of us together are casting it and funding it and all that stuff. And there's a tremendous amount of work with bronze. And I'm amazed at how many man hours and how difficult the actual process is. So that's a little different. The last time, Wild Wings, the company that I work with, the publisher, basically took care of all the work with the bronze itself. In this case, we're getting in real raw bronze. We're chasing it, which means grinding it off and smoothing it up and putting the patina on and the base and all that stuff and marketing ourselves. It's a lot of work. But,
so like with the rest of your artwork, you do an original. We make copies of it here.
Correct.
The copies are what are for sale to the general public.
As well as originals, but basically, yes.
And what's the edition size of this one?
I believe it's 100.
Okay. That's very small.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I think the last one was a 200 edition, and I don't think it sold out, but it came very close. It's very close now.
I know you and I had conversations beforehand here. I'll be getting one of these up in my studio. It'll be for sale for the general public. So if people want to come up and check out the craftsmanship of Mike's second bronze he's done here, we'll have one for sale up in our gallery, and you'll be able to look at it on our website. Again, if you go to our website, it's www.artbarbarians.com, and you can just go to the print gallery, and we got a number of artists on there. Look for Michael Sieve. We have Mike's. I'm working on completing the collection. You've done a number of pieces over the years. We also have Mike's publisher came up with this catalog a couple years back, and basically it's got every print in here, starting with your first limited edition piece.
The first, that's basically a retrospective of everything I had done up until 1999.
Okay.
So there's a lot of stuff in there that's newer than that brochure.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty good overview up until then.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of, I've given hundreds of these out over the last couple of years here. And you've been doing this for quite a while, and you have a very good collector base, at least through my gallery. I have a good collector base of your customers, and they love this book that they can,
It's a nice book. It's a good overview book is what it is.
Sure. Yeah. And, Mike was kind enough to give me another box of these, so anyone that wants to get one of these, just stop by our gallery. We'd love to give you one. Mike does come up to our gallery for signings and whatnot throughout the year, so if you want to find out the next time Mike will be up, sign up on our mailing list. You can do that right online, or you can call us up on the phone. The phone number is 763-494-8888. Also, we have other catalogs. Mike's publisher, Wild Wings, publishes some great art, and Mike's got a whole section in the book here too.
And Chris, the second book you showed would have more of the up-to-date stuff. That's the recent stuff.
Yeah, my website has I forget how many exact images of yours, but everything new that's available is on my website. We even have some framed framing samples on there. With Mike's art, you can see by the subject matter here. I mean, if you're a hunter or like the outdoors, you're going to love Mike's artwork. A number of my buddies that I actually go out and I bow hunt with, we've taken some of their arrows and frame it up in the matting with it. After you get a nice shot on an animal, and a lot of times I end up retiring that arrow. It's kind of a nice way to retire it. It looks like a similar piece. So. But you got a couple other pieces here. Kind of. Let's start with. I'll take your choice. You can.
Well, whichever one you want.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the one behind me.
Okay.
That's the one I'm most interested in.
The one in back, I just finished. It's the most recent painting. It's a self-portrait, Chris, and I've never done a self-portrait like that before, but it's got a lot of meaning to me. I call it the Church of the Great Outdoors. And basically, bow hunting and being outdoors and hunting in general, as well as the other land work I do, the planting trees, the working on the trails, the building ponds, managing trout stream, all that stuff. That's where I go for my relaxation, and that's my getaway. That's where I go to sort of ground myself.
Yeah.
And so that painting has got a lot of meaning to me in terms of what's within me, you might say.
Yeah.
I think if you talk to a lot of hunters, and especially a lot of serious bow hunters, I think they would relate to that, in that a lot of hunters get out in the woods just to get away and to sort of meditate in their own way, whichever way they choose to.
Yeah.
But that's what that painting is.
Yeah, kind of, I have the luxury of looking at it on set here in person, but we'll get some close-ups here with some cameras. Kind of tell us a little bit about some of the animals hidden in the piece.
Well, basically, I put a lot of things in there. It's myself looking at 3 deer, as well as a 4th buck coming in. Clearly in the painting, I'm not interested in shooting any of those deer. I'm more or less just taking in the scene and enjoying it. And around me, scattered all through the painting, are many of the animals that you would, and birds, that you would typically see while you're bow hunting. And Chris, I know you bow hunt, and I think you can appreciate that, where you're out in the woods and a squirrel goes by, or a blue jay, or an owl, or a hawk, or chipmunks, squirrels, the whole cast. And basically what I did is put many of those animals in this painting as you would see them in the wild if you sat out there and, sort of sat back. And I kind of, I call it the Church of the Great Outdoors. That's kind of like myself in the back row, in the back of the church, just kind of sitting there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I view that painting.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, when a guy first starts getting in the woods and getting into hunting, and you think it's all about getting on deer if you're hunting deer and stuff, and that's all it's about. But I'll be honest with you, some of my best hunts I never even saw deer.
Yeah,
it was just other nature things that happen. And
well, we're all out there to hunt, and part of hunting is harvesting an animal, killing an animal. But that really isn't the main reason. The main reason is to be out and to be a part of nature in the way that we choose to.
Sure.
It's going back to our distant past, the roots that we came from.
Yeah.
That's what it means to me.
Sure. Yeah, and this piece, just like pretty much everything Mike paints, gets turned into prints and canvases and whatnot. So anything on the set here that you like, definitely give us a call or check us out online. We'd love to hook you up with a print or an artist proof or a canvas. We have a whole array of Mike's art in the gallery. You can come in and see it for yourself. I have a number of your originals up in the gallery on display too. And they say there's nothing like an original, but these canvas prints are sure getting close.
Yep,
so,
they're pretty good.
So it gives people like me and the people watching TV a chance to own, an original without spending the big money, basically.
Yep.
Another piece that we don't have on the set with us that I'd like to talk about is Golden Fan Club. And this piece, Mike's let me come down and turkey hunt on his land, and just talking another scenario about stuff that happens when you don't actually get a shot on an animal. This last spring here, I was hunting on Mike's land, and I had a hen